Hello, YouTube. Um, with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine being technically only 2 weeks away, I thought that I would review one of what is what is undoubtedly considered to be one of the greatest comic book movies ever made, and a movie that definitely set the standard, or a movie that definitely set the standard for the R rating comic book genre, and that would be Logan. Now, this movie was obviously originally supposed to be Hugh Jackman's final performance as Wolverine, but obviously we saw how that turned out. Um, so, this movie is set in El Paso, Texas, and um, it's set in El Paso, Texas, and it's set in the year 2029. And Logan is working as a limo driver, um, while taking care of an elderly Charles Xavier. And Logan himself, um, in this, and neither Charles nor Logan is in a good place right now. Logan, especially in this movie, Logan is almost 200 years old, and he is um, he is in a place in his life where he's pretty much just ready to. He pretty much just wants to die. Basically, he is not only very sick, but he is not only very sick, but he's not only very sick, but like his healing factor is not working anymore. He's got like fresh wounds like all over his chest that just aren't healing. He's got like fresh cuts and bruises. He has, like fresh cuts and bruises that aren't healing. Um, he's not sleeping. Um, he he's not sleeping. He's drinking himself dry. He's he is he is he's coughing all the time. Um, he is um sorry guys, just a moment. Um, yeah, he's drinking himself dry. Um and he's very, 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 very miserable um in this movie. He's just at a point in his life where he just basically doesn't give a shit about anything anymore. Basically just, all he wants to do basically is just to die. um and Xavier himself, um Charles Xavier, is also having issues of his own. He is suffering dementia, that are triggering that is triggering seizures. Now, obviously, for a normal person, obviously that wouldn't be, I mean, obviously, it would be bad, obviously, but for somebody like Xavier, for a telepath, it's it's obviously much, 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 much worse. Um, he is suffering from dementia that is giving him seizures. Um, and and for somebody, with telepathic powers, it's obviously, um, it obviously comes at a high price. So when he has a seizure, it literally causes like earthquakes. Um, and 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 Logan, um, Logan being a mutant, is obviously, he's less affected by it, but he still very much feels it. Um, so Logan is taking care of an elderly Charles Xavier, but a woman, a mysterious woman, um, is trying to track him down, saying that she basically needs his help, and um, she it turns out that she is a nurse for the Transigen Corporation, um, and she tracks him down saying, I need your help. And she has this girl with her, this young girl, and she says to Logan, I need you to take her to North Dakota. um I need you to take her to North Dakota. I need you to take this girl to safety, basically. um and we find out that the Transigen Corporation, um, are very, 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 very bad people. Um, their leader Pierce, um, is um, their leader Pierce um, is creating mutant killers. Um, and while I'm on the topic of mutants, there hasn't been a mutant seen in 25 years. They're gone. Um, they're gone. Logan, Charles, and Caliban, who is a mutant tracker, are the only ones left. And excuse me, sorry. And Charles, keeps telling Logan, "Oh, I'm in contact with I've been in contact, with the new mutant, with the new mutant, a young one." And Logan, and Logan obviously is like, no, impossible. They're dead. They're all dead. They're gone. Plus, you're not in that line of work anymore. Blah blah blah. And um, so this woman manages to track Logan down, um, and we find out that this young girl is she is no ordinary young girl. She is, in fact, she actually has powers very, very similar to Logan's. She has claws of her own. She, though, unlike Logan, only has two claws that come out of each hand, whereas Wolverine obviously has three that come out of each hand. She only has two. She also has one claw that comes out of each foot, which she uses for different purposes. But she is very, very similar to Logan. She's got claws. She can heal. Um, and she and these kids were created for one purpose, and that was obviously to be they were obviously created, as weapons. They were created, to destroy and kill. um and these kids, um these kids have never seen, um, these are kids that have never seen the outside world. They've never seen, um, they've never seen, they've never seen the sun. They've never seen the moon. They've never seen, they have no clue what lies outside the world because they've never been allowed outside. Um, they've never seen the sun. They've never seen the moon, or even animals. They've never seen, um, they've never seen, um, like trees or woods or anything along those lines. They're all, um, like I said before, that they were created, purely for, they were created purely, they were created purely, to kill and destroy. Um, but as the kids got older, they realized that they didn't want to fight. They didn't want to become, killing machines. And and um, so when Gabriella learned that the kids, so when Gabriella learned um, that Transigen was creating a new weapon, which was which they believed to be the ultimate weapon, something that was, something, that has no soul, um, that has no conscience. That's just basically, um, that's pretty much just like a mindless, killing machine. Um, they started killing. They started they started rounding up the kids and killing them. And um, so Gabriella and the other nurses tried to save as many children as they could. Um, and um, and that is why Logan, um, and that is why Gabriella, tracked Logan down, because she wanted to get Laura away from the away from Transigen, get her to safety. Um, and um, this movie, um, these kids have, they have no, birth certificates. They have no names other than the ones that they're given. Again, they've never seen, the ocean or the sun or, anything like that. Um, and um, Gabriella tells, um, before she died, she made a video explaining, Laura's origin, and, and what, and the illegal projects that Transigen was up to. Um, explaining everything, Laura's backstory, and yeah, and because obviously, like when they first meet, like Logan obviously has no idea who she is. So, and then she tells him in the video that, that she's basically his daughter. Um, she has, his DNA. Um, so she, um, Logan, Laura's interaction with Charles Xavier in this movie is much, 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 much different than the interactions that she has with Logan. Like for example, Logan, obviously being, like very, very bitter at this age, being, very, very bitter and miserable, and just pretty much not caring about anything anymore. Um I wouldn't say quite say hostile, but he is, um, he's very like, um, he's very, like sarcastic and he's very, like sarcastic and miserable and um, just very, like sarcastic and miserable and just, very, very negative. Um, but she gets along with, right along when Laura and Charles first meet, um, they pretty much have a good relationship right off the bat. Like they get along. Um, she is, you can tell how much Charles cares about, um, you can tell how much Charles cares about Laura and how much he wants to help her and vice versa. Like she very much cares about him too. Like like they trust each other. Um like there's this one scene um where Pierce manages to find where Logan and Xavier are, and then they're trying to get away, and then they're trying to get away from them, and then they're being chased in they're being chased. Logan and Charles and Laura are in Logan's limo trying to get away, from Pierce and his men, and and they're being shot at. They're being shot at, and um, they're being shot at, and Laura has herself over. She has herself over Charles like a she has herself over Charles like a shield, because remember, she has the same powers as basically the same powers as Logan. Like Logan, she has a healing factor. So she's basically, she's shielding, Charles from enemy fire. And sorry, I can't talk today. And um but yeah, no, um this is a movie that's um excuse me, sorry. This is a movie that works. This movie is so incredibly well written and so incredibly well done. It's one of those movies that works, it doesn't just work incredibly well as a comic book movie, but it's one of those movies that works both so well as a comic book movie and then just so well like on its own, like as a movie in itself. It's just, and it's incredibly, surprisingly, it's very, 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 very moving. Like it's very, 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 very emotional. um the story really, really like pulls you in, and it gets you attached to these characters and makes you like really, really like care about them. It really, like the character development in this movie is, I mean, it's flawless. I mean, the way that these characters are written and the way that the story portrays them is so incredible. I mean, um it's mind blowing how well, how well done this movie is. Um, how well done the movie is. Like the movie opens with, um, with these punks trying to trying to steal Logan's car. And um and Logan and y- and Logan steps out of the car, and he's like stumbling and just um he's like stumbling and struggling to like stand up. And 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 he's trying to talk the guys out of out of taking the car. And and one of the guys just like shoots him right in the chest with a shotgun. And and now and now remember, because of a long time ago, this obviously wouldn't have been an issue for Logan. He just he just would obviously he would just obviously like he would just obviously like get right back up and start doing his thing again. But you know but because um but in this movie, because he's so old, and because his healing factor has stopped working. He's literally just he's lying there. um he's lying there, and it takes him a couple of minutes to get back up. Because again, his wounds are not healing. So it's like when he gets a new wound, it's like when he gets a new wound now, it sits there. It doesn't it just it sits there with with all the other wounds that aren't healing. And so he um he takes those guys out. And another thing that that I meant to bring up earlier, another thing that um aren't working, or that isn't working like it used to, are his claws. His claws, like right at the beginning of the movie when he gets attacked, his claws aren't coming out like all the way. So his claws only come out to like here in the beginning of the movie. And then later on we get a scene of him literally trying to pull one of the one of the claws out, and then his right hand starts to bleed, because again his healing factor is not what it used to be. So excuse me, sorry. um so he you know so he so I so because his healing factor isn't working anymore, um he has to bandage that hand. Wolverine, this is a Wolverine that we've never seen, um that we've never seen on screen before. This is a Wolverine um who is who is very much dealing with his own mortality. He's basically struggling. um he's very much struggling, being he's very much struggling being a man, being mortal. And he needs and he's in fact he's so old now, um he even needs glasses to watch, to like watch videos or read, or or whatever. And he's at a point in his life now where um he pretty much feels like he has nothing left to live for. um and he is very um he's basically he's he's almost 200 years old in this movie. He is, um, he's very much at a point in his life where he's just ready to die. Um, but um, so yeah, so um, going back to Gabriella, she is, she tasks Logan with, like I said before, escorting Laura to safety. Um, in the video that in the video that she made to Logan before she died, she told Logan of a place in North Dakota called Eden, which is supposed to be a safe refuge for mutants. And we hear Gabriella say, I have no idea if any of the other, if any of the other children made it. Um, and Wolverine is obviously completely convinced that this Eden doesn't exist. It's just something that it's just something that the nurse made up. Um, that she got through an X-Men comic book that just happened to be um, that Laura just happened to have in the movie. Um, so he's not buying it. And um, but yeah, the movie is very, very much about it's very much, it's about family. Um, it's about family. Um, it's about family. It's about loss. Um, it's very much about Charles. Um, Charles is trying to teach. Um, Charles is trying to teach Logan one last lesson, and that's you still have time to you still have time to you still have time to care again. You still have time to have to have a life, to have you know to have a reason to live. And Logan is um Logan is pretty much, as I said before, he's very much, like at the end of his rope. He's just, he's done with he's just done with it. Um and 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 Logan is, um he's Charles is trying to teach Logan acceptance, basically, because um the X-Men are obviously no more. So this is, it's very much about, like the last lesson that Charles is trying to teach Logan. And this movie, I mean, yeah, this movie is, this was also the first Wolverine movie to get an R rating. And I actually remember hearing that Hugh Jackman actually gave up half his paycheck to, he gave up half his paycheck because um, he wanted this final Wolverine movie to, um, he very much wanted this final, Wolverine movie to be R rated and to be, um, and to tell, and and to tell a story that would be, he basically wanted to give the fans like the definitive, like Wolverine experience. at the end, they were just basically like, all right, let's, this is my last outing, so let's just pull out, all the stoppers, let's just go all out. And that's exactly what they did for this movie. Um, and that's exactly what they did for this movie. Um, Logan Logan is also dying in this movie. It's not um, they don't outright say what it is that's killing him. However, it is very, very heavily hinted at, and I think it's pretty safe to say that he basically has lead poisoning. The metal, the adamantium in his body, the stuff that, the metal that covers, his entire skeleton, is basically killing him. Sorry, excuse me. Is basically killing him, and it's finally caught up with him. Um, and it's finally caught up with him, and it's at a point now, and Logan is at a point now where he, again, his healing factor is no longer able to sustain him. So, um, but yeah, no, but this movie is just, as I said before, it's so incredibly well done. It's so incredibly, um, it I mean, it's literally, it's a masterpiece in every way, shape, and form. Everything down to the writing, to the acting, um, to the just, all of it. I mean, I mean, everybody just really, 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 really knew what they were doing with this movie. This movie actually has it very much has like a Mad Max, um like Western like type feel to it. Um, it very, very much feels like a Mad Max type, movie, in terms of setting. Um, but yeah, no, if you haven't seen this movie, I cannot recommend this enough. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a masterpiece in every shape of the word. And if you guys haven't seen this movie, then you need to go watch it, because it is so incredibly moving. And it and if you haven't seen it, I guarantee you that you will cry by the end of this movie. Um, I guarantee it, because it is just, it is that moving, and it is that, and it is just, it is that heart wrenching. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you've seen it, like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.